I think we're live in the group now. So let me just pull up the, I was gonna say pull up my phone. I don't have my phone. So let me go into the group on this other computer. I just want to make sure that we are streaming live.
Oh, yeah, it just came up on mine.
Showing in your group. Make sure the audio is working. Yep. All right. Streaming live. And I hear it. All right, cool. So we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Creative Crypto Show. I'm going to move this. I don't like the new Facebook live stream setup. It brings the whole picture of like my face here, so I'm looking at it instead of the ability to do the screen share where I want, and so it's delayed a little bit, so it just throws me off. I don't like the new setup. Nonetheless, we're going to talk some crypto today. I've got some really exciting and kind of crazy stuff to talk about. And so we're going to get right into it. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So let's get right into this. First of all, what's some good news? Jessica, share some good news with us this morning to kick things off.
My good news is that my 8th grader just passed a test so she can start taking college classes in 9th grade. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Very cool. Sorry, I had to go grab another energy drink, or a energy drink, so that I can have something to wet my mouth with. Awesome. 9th grade, going into 9th grade, doing college classes. That's very cool.
Yeah, she'll graduate high school with her associate's degree because of that.
Wow, nice. That's pretty cool. So my good news for today is I've had a very productive morning, and this afternoon I get to go to the park with my daughter, and we're going to go ride bikes looking at the ducks. That's what she wanted to do this afternoon. So that's my good news. I'm excited about that. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let me find Zoom, and I'm going to screen share. Looks like Danny is here as well. Before I screen share and get into it, welcome to the call, Danny. Let's see. Hi, Danny. Welcome. What is some good news you would like to share? Fill us up with some good news before we kick off today's call. You're muted as well, so let me unmute.
And she wants to go out today, so we'll be going out hopefully this afternoon. So I'm really excited. She hasn't been out of the house for 2 months, so it's
who's this?
Great. My mom.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Getting out of the house with mom is always fun.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and we will dive into all of this fun stuff. Let me get the correct stuff pulled up. Share screen. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. Should be good now. All right.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So let me just hit refresh on my notes. All right. So we got a lot actually that I want to talk about. I don't know how, and these are those subjects for me, or maybe I don't know. These are the things that I can go on and on and on and on about. So I'll do my best to not do that. I just want to give kind of a high-level intro of what's going on, and so let's get into it. The first thing we want to do is just kind of take a look at what's going on in the market. The market cap for today is 430 billion, which is down 3 billion from yesterday. 24-hour volume is setting at just under 24 billion, which is essentially the same as it was yesterday. Now, total number of cryptocurrencies, we have 1597. Yesterday, we had 1614. 1597. So looks like that numbers went down by about 20 or 30. So scam coins, every couple of weeks, you'll notice that these numbers will fluctuate, the amount of coins. Some coins that are no longer active projects, they get removed from this site. And so this number kind of goes up and down as well on occasion. Most of the time it's going up because there's just more and more currencies being added. Bitcoin dominance today is sitting at 36.2%. Yesterday was 36.7%. So down just a tad on that. We're not going to get into the bond market or the gold and silver price for today. Not a lot of news, not a lot of change in that. But if we just look at the overall market as a whole, you see kind of a mixture of both. You see some red, you see some green mixed in. So this is kind of an evenly balanced day just at first glance if we look at the 24-hour change. All right, so if we go to the biggest winners, you'll see that there's about half of this page is in the green. And so we've got maybe 2 dozen coins that are in the green out of these 1597. So at first glance, that red and green was kind of a little, deceiving, because there's only, looks like maybe 3 dozen coins here out of the 1600 that are in the green. So it's not as well balanced as we thought just with first glance. We look at the big winners for today, the highest gainers. Bytecoin is up 68%. Holo, not sure what that is up 19.8%. Ethos is up, IOTA is up. Let's see, so congrats to anybody that has those coins. Bitcoin Private is the biggest loser for the last 24 hours, down 11.5%. This is actually a good sign though. The biggest loser under that is only 5%. So only one double-digit loser. I don't really like the word loser, but you guys get what I'm saying. Only one double-digit decrease over the last 24 hours. So pretty solid day. If we just look at the overall prices, again, we're kind of flat. There's not a lot of up or down movement recently after the last push. And so we'll get into why that is and kind of what's going on in terms of the Bitcoin market and all that stuff. So Bitcoin setting at 9,100, Ethereum 736, EOS is at 1822, Litecoin at 159. So that's kind of what's going on in the market there. If we go to, let's look at some world news, and I'm just going to talk for a minute on world news. Let's see if I can actually find. I don't think I posted anything in the group about it, so I'm just going to stop the screen share briefly and do the screen here. And I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on, because there's some backstory here about what's going on in the world. And I just want to bring a few things to attention, not to bring negativity or corruption or evilness or any of that crap into the picture because I like being there, but simply to bring it into the picture because it's part of what's going on. It's just a part of the process. Ultimately, what's happening is very, very good. We're moving towards a world of peace. We're moving towards global peace. And in order to get there, a lot of dirty work has to be done. A lot of hard moves have to be made. A lot of corruption has to be extracted from the current system, the current management of these systems. And so that's kind of what's going on. I'll give you a couple of key points that if you want to research and dive a little bit deeper in, you can. But again, the purpose of this show is just to kind of fill you in with enough info of what's going on so that you kind of can pay attention to how it could potentially affect the crypto world. And so the first thing is the Knights of Malta have elected a brand new leader. And so what this essentially means is that the apex of Western finance, all right, the essence, which is the people the evil fuckers that rule everything, pardon my language, some people call them the deep state, right? In geopolitical terms, like the evil rulers that are really ruling the world, and it's the they, right? That you hear all the time. They don't want you to do this. They don't want us. It's the they. All right, that's what I refer to them as. Is just the they. So what this actually means is that they're under new management. All right, the rule givers, the guys, they that point the fingers, that make the decisions, They're being plucked out and replaced. And so that in itself is just interesting, the fact that that's actually happening. What it means is we're one step closer to world peace, all right? But in that process, lots of corruption and a lot of bad stuff has to go, has to get cleaned out. All right, so one other thing that's actually going on, former CIA, the head of the CIA, Mike Pompeo, some of you guys have heard about them. He now heads the State Department. He is reported to active duty recently, which basically means the U.S. State Department is also under control of the U.S. military government. And so this again, just more telling signs, more kind of dominoes falling to see what we're doing. So a visible sign, I'm just going to read my notes, what I wrote down. A visible sign, this means real change, of course, the move towards peace in the Korean Peninsula. Another sign has been the State Department's decision to cut off funding to the fake White Helmets propaganda outfit in Syria. So these are just news stories that have recently popped up, things that are happening, dominoes that are falling, that are just further proof of everything that I've been saying, that we're moving towards a world of peace, and all of the corruption that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, it's being changed. It's not all because of Donald Trump. He's just the bull in the china shop, is the analogy that a lot of people are giving me. He's the one that's now there, that they didn't expect him to be there, and he's shaking stuff up. He's doing because he's not in it for the money. He's already a billionaire. He's not really interested in the money. He's there to do things. He's working with other people. It's definitely not just him coordinating all of this. He's a big part of it. He's kind of one of the last pieces of the puzzle that allow these things, these coordinated efforts, to really start happening. And we're moving towards a world of global peace as a result. So one interesting, well, let's see, there's a couple of things so in terms of like the deep state and the evildoers and the controllers of the world, they are kind of scared at the moment. They're fighting because of all of the stuff that's happening, all of the new controls that are being put in place. There's 29,000 sealed indictments, basically, that the current legislation is actually going after. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. All right, there's George Bush is one of those people that are on the list of people that's doing some not so nice things and been involved in some not so nice things. One of the common plays just in history is whenever the external pressure gets too tough, kind of a secret hiding spot is a hospital. And so the higher ups that are involved in these type of things, they just get sick or get, have a surgery or whatever, and they go into the hospital as kind of a place of a safe haven of sorts. And that's what Bush is doing right now. The funny thing is the hospitals have kicked him out. And so that's an interesting thing, because again, entering a hospital is a tried and true method of that's used by the deep state to avoid or being arrested. And so there's a lot of stuff that is coming up, that's just uncomfortable for people to acknowledge and people to realize, and people that. So like, I'll just go ahead, and I talk more about this and going to be talking more about this in a lot more open format, because there's a lot of stuff that even on here, when I don't want to say it because I don't know who's listening to the other end of all of this stuff, and there's so much censorship going on. But one of the things that's John McCain, those of you that might not know this, he is in the process of dying. He has a brain cancer, and one of the things that he's recently came out and said is he announced that he's going to be inviting George W. Bush and Barack Obama to speak at his upcoming funeral, but he's not going to invite Trump. He doesn't want Trump there. Now, it's interesting because of, if you look at who McCain's sponsors have all been, it's obvious what, they're the ones that are tied to some of the most corrupt and evil stuff. And so that is just another piece of the puzzle that's going on. Now, the one big thing, let's see. So the one thing to look for in the next little bit, and this is how it directly relates directly to cryptocurrency is the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. He has been summoned to Moscow tomorrow. Actually, will be there tomorrow, May 9th, to watch a victory parade where Putin is going to deliver, supposedly, Putin's going to deliver an ultimatum to Netanyahu to end the final conflict that's been holding up the global currency reset. All right. So this is coming from sources that I've been following and studying and reading for a while, and that's what they're saying. This meeting that's happening tomorrow is basically them coming to end something that's been holding up the global currency reset. So that's kind of a big deal. Be watching the news or just pay attention to the show as it comes out. I will I'll be talking about it and highlighting the important stuff that we need to know. But I'm talking like some just crazy stuff is going to be coming out in the very near future. People that you thought were the holiest people on the planet, your perspective is going to be changed on them. Stuff is going to come out where you're going to realize that the world is not the way that we've been seeing it. The people that I've been seeing and idolizing and you know, that and I say I, but I'm not talking about like anybody individually, just the world as a whole. The people that are put up on the pedestals, like, we're going to realize that they're involved in some really bad stuff, including former presidents of the United States, multiple former presidents of the United States. And so as this stuff comes up, like, there's going to be a lot of stuff, like potentially the truth about 9/11, what actually happened at 9/11. There's so much conspiracy stuff talking about 9/11, and whether or not you buy into the conspiracy side of things or the story side of things, the mainstream media story side of things, it's very obvious whichever side you look at, things don't match up. So 9/11 as a whole is one of the things that's kind of, it's been foggy for a lot of people. Nobody really knows the truth behind it in terms of like the masses. However, with the moves that are being made, the summons that are happening, the trials that are going on, the new management that's coming into place in these higher up organizations, all of these things are coming together. We're about to find some really crazy stuff out that it's going to take the world by surprise. And so here's why all of this is important. Not because it's this crazy, you know, we're not living in the doom porn world where, you know, hey, all this bad stuff is happening, we should prepare and all of that. These are all just signs, because if you think about it, if the world opens up and realizes that, wow, things are not as we have been told, we can no longer trust government. We can no longer trust these certain organizations. We can no longer trust the media. We can no longer trust these certain things that in the past we've relied on trust for years and years and years. When that happens to the masses, things are going to change in a big time way, because what's the one thing that's kind of the saving grace in this? Blockchain technology is a technology of trust. It is a system of trust. And so everything is just going to be validated even further. Floods of people are going to come to blockchain related projects. And so we're very early on in this process, and we're fortunate to be able to watch all of this stuff go down. Because it's clear as day when you watch what's going on. When you see the stuff that's happening in the world, you can see what's going to happen. You can see the future, essentially. You can see, I mean, you can just predict what's going to happen, because I mean, there's so much stuff that's coming out. And so let me actually go back. I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll get into some news out of the world news, because that stuff's not very fun, but I talk about it because it's very relevant to what we're doing here, what we're talking about here. The fun stuff is other things like, let me go back to our Facebook group here. And we'll dive in. Let's see, creative crypto tips. So we got this, Mr. Munger, we got this happening. And we got this happening. And then yesterday we talked about this, Warren Buffett talking trash, calling Bitcoin rat poison squared. The very same day, this article comes out with Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's partner in all of this, and lifelong kind of business partner, investment partner, advisor, mentor, whatever. Right-hand man. He came out saying some pretty crazy stuff. Bitcoin, this is sick. Bitcoin nearly as bad as trading harvested baby brains. Are you kidding me? Like that is such a, it's just sick. It's just a sick analogy. It's a sick comparison. It's messed up. I don't know if this guy is senile or delusional or what. But like those words to use, it just kind of makes my stomach queasy. Not because of, I mean, it's just a sick analogy, number one. But if you read what he's actually saying here, it's not making sense. It doesn't compute. So his comments here's what it says: the computer science behind Bitcoin is a great triumph of the human mind. They created a product that's hard to create more of, but not impossible. But I see an artificial speculative medium, he said, that's antisocial, stupid, and immoral. He's 94 years old, so senile may very well be in the picture. Suppose you could make a lot of money trading freshly harvested baby brains. Would you do it? To me, Bitcoin is almost as bad. There was a video discussion released actually just yesterday or a couple of days ago, I think, with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger and their predetermined interviewer, kind of the staple interviewer that throws the softball type questions to people. The same person that interviews Warren Buffett all the time. Every interview of Warren Buffett, always by the same person. That's by design. And so during this interview, he was like, you know, this is like trading turds. He was like, if everybody's trading turds, people jumping on Bitcoin is like, I got to trade some of that because I'm missing out. And it's interesting. He says, I regard the whole thing as a combination of dementia and immorality. I think the people pushing it are a disgrace. There ought to be some things that are beneath you that you just don't do, and this is one of them. So pretty strong words. Decline. Hang on, I'm ringing on 3 different devices here. Decline. All right, so pretty strong words from this guy. Now, here's the very interesting part, and I mentioned this at the top of this. If you look at their top 10 investments, let's actually do that really quick. Warren Buffett, top 10 investments. And Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway's biggest investments. Let's see if we can go what this says. All right, okay, so this is a list of his top investments. All right, this is Warren and Berkshire Hathaway's top investments. First one, Southwest Airlines. The airline industry, very pro blockchain. You can just search airlines, and I'm not gonna, I was hoping I would have time to actually pull up articles or pages and just show that every one of these investments are heavily involved in blockchain technology and projects. But I didn't have time to do that. You can do it yourself. Just search airlines blockchain. You will find that airlines are very much on board with blockchain technology. They're innovating blockchain technology into their business model like crazy. Same thing for banks. Same thing for banks. So many banks are actually integrating blockchain technology. They're using blockchain technology. The Federal Reserve is coming out with the FedCoin and making all kinds of claims and statements saying that, you know what, there's a bunch of good stuff behind this blockchain stuff. It can make the transaction of currency a whole lot easier. It can make our lives easier. Banks are on board with the idea of cryptocurrency. Just so happened that he's invested in banks. Credit services are also on board with them. Phillips 66, the oil and gas project. So oil and gas blockchain. See what comes up here. So blockchain is in oil and gas. Why the next oil boom will be fueled by blockchain. Blockchain for oil and gas. So blockchain is very, very involved in the oil and gas. American Express. American Express American Express blockchain. They have a blockchain patent. Blockchain to accelerate payment processing for America. This is on AmericanExpress.com. This is like, they're very pro blockchain. All right. This is from over a year ago, coming in 2017. They've been on board with blockchain since day one. Coca-Cola. Let's see if Coca-Cola is involved. Coca-Cola blockchain. Let's just see. Coca-Cola U.S. State Department to use blockchain to combat forced labor. Coca-Cola is very involved in blockchain technology. So here's my point. Bank of America, same thing, Wells Fargo. Apple. Is Apple involved in blockchain? Of course they are. Blockchain. So eventually, Apple, I don't have my phone with me, they're going to be one of the main players in this. I mean, they've got blockchain stuff ready to go. They filed patents on it. Apple patent filing has a hints at blockchain use. This was back in 2017, December. So here's my point with all of this. These are Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway's top 10 investments. Yet they're poo-pooing on them all day long. Charlie Munger saying it's like trading baby brains. Warren Buffett saying it's rat poison squared. Bill Gates, what did Bill Gates just come out and say? Bill Gates, Bitcoin. One day ago, I would short Bitcoin if I could. All right. Yeah. So this is what he came out and said. Look, Bill Gates, Charlie Munger on Bitcoin. They happen to be together. The three amigos. This is 1 hour ago. All right. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates said Monday he would bet against Bitcoin if he could. It's as an asset class. You're not producing anything, so you shouldn't expect it to go up. It's kind of a pure greed or full theory type of investment. So here's the thing. I would short it if there was an easy way to do it. He said, guess what? It's a very easy thing to do to short Bitcoin. You just go on the exchange and you sell it. There's many, many ways to do exactly what he's saying. He doesn't want to short it. He's not going to short it. If he was serious about this statement, it would be done. Go do it, Gates. Like go and do it. You can do it. It's not a so. Look, a matter of fact, if you do the search for it, look, 2 hours ago, Tyler Winklevoss tells Bill Gates how to short Bitcoin. That's how absurd this claim is. He's like, I would short it if I could. All that's happening here is the and I put it here right here. If you noticed yesterday, Bill Gates also came out and spoke against it. So here's what's actually happening. This guy right here, Steve Mnuchin, look him up. Who is he? He is the current U.S. Secretary of Treasury, part of the cabinet of Trump in U.S. So what they're doing is they're slowing down the growth. They're not trying to slam it down. If they could slam it down, they would. But guess what? They can't slam it down like they did in December anymore. They don't have the proper assets to do that. So they're controlling the growth. I don't think that Buffett is necessarily one of the bad guys. I think Buffett is. I mean, because if you look at just his history and who his father was and what his father's beliefs were on gold and bringing the gold standard back, like Warren Buffett idolized his father, and his father was one of the biggest fans in the world about having a gold standard and gold being true money. He gave him a speech about it in public, and it's recorded. So there's always been this, and Warren's always kind of said funny things about gold, not because he doesn't own or believe in gold, but because that's not where Berkshire Hathaway. He's partnered with some of the largest banks. Like his money is made in the dollar, and so that's just. I mean, what's going on is we're hearing this is a coordinated attempt to slow down the growth, and this is just one little piece of the puzzle, guys. This is one piece of the puzzle that's actually showing it down. What did Kush say here? This is not right of them. I was very shocked about Bill Gates' comments. He was on record praising crypto a few years ago. What happened? He even sold the Bitcoins he was given as a gift. I doubt they are speaking their mind, so I agree with you. Someone is feeding them information to influence growth and adoption. of the tech and the currency. Absolutely. They are being fed information. I'll tell you who this someone is. This guy right here, Stephen Mnuchin. This is exactly what's happening. He calls them up, say, hey, we need to slow this thing down. Can you say some bad stuff about it? And then the same day, all three of them come out and talk crap about it. Come on. Very obvious what's going on. So that's just one thing, which ultimately is a good thing. I mean, yeah, they're talking about it to slow it down, but like seeing this stuff to me, I'm like, okay, this is just validation. We're in the right spot. We're here at the right time. We're early. It's just like I'm buying more. That's the strategy, right? Let's get some more. So here's another piece of news that's kind of on the other side of it. The New York Stock Exchange isn't planning on Bitcoin futures market, but a proper crypto exchange. All right, we just heard last week on May 3rd that Goldman Sachs is reporting to enter the Bitcoin market by launching a futures market targeted at investors in the traditional finance or sector of the stock market. All right, so there's that. On May 8th, today, less than a week after the plans of Goldman Sachs to operate Bitcoin futures markets, New York Times reported that several emails and documents reviewed by the New York Times showed the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange been developing an online Bitcoin trading platform. The parent company of the New York Stock Exchange has been working on an online trading platform that will allow large investors to buy and hold Bitcoin. According to emails and documents viewed by the New York Times, and four people briefed on the effort who asked to remain anonymous because all the plans were still confidential. So this is based on four people. Nonetheless, the news is out. I don't see this as being false. I absolutely think this is probably going to happen, which is interesting, right? It's very, very interesting. It's going to bring on more, it will expedite the regulation. But again, what does this mean? It means a lot of new money, a lot of new people coming into crypto. That's exactly what it means. Same thing for this. I posted this and I've been calling this for months now. FedCoin. FedCoin is coming. We have a dollar, and here's the thing, like who knows how it's going to roll out. I think it will be absolutely hilarious if they roll it out and say that it's backed by the US dollar, which I think if that happens, that's going to be kind of one of the final nails in the, that's a ridiculous decision. I mean, who knows? I mean, these guys are in a pretty crazy predicament. The dollar is dying. The world is waking up to that and realizing it and getting rid of it. And so who knows? I mean, there's some desperate stuff that could happen. But nonetheless, FedCoin is on the way. The Federal Reserve recently told the New York Times that the Fed should give serious consideration to releasing a government-sponsored cryptocurrency commonly called FedCoin. All right. So this article goes on and talks a little bit more about why they think it's a good idea, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's a good idea. I've been planning this for a long time, so it's not anything new, but I'm just pointing it out because I've been talking about it for a month or more now. FedCoin is coming. It's the next obvious move. And so that's what's going on. That is what is going on in the market. That's the news. I want to cover a little bit of content really quick because we had a question from Daniel. Yesterday, Daniel asked, do you have a routine that you stick to every day, or do you play it day by day? So, and then specifically, how much screen time do you get? How do you balance life and crypto? So I want to talk a little bit about my take on that, and kind of what my day looks like. So my schedule and routine, and I might go a little bit over today on this call because this is important. I want to get this out. My schedule and routine. So the first thing to understand is my crypto strategy. It doesn't depend on me watching the market every day. I'm not a trader. I'm not in there day trading. I do some, I guess you would call it swing trading, where I'll buy and then sell within a week or two just to take profits and buy more. But I don't do a lot of trading. My strategy is not dependent on, I'm not tied to the market. I could care less if the market is up or down today, to be honest with you, because I'm not doing it to make money right now. My strategy is buy and hold because I know where we're going. And so I'm just accumulating. That's the phase that I'm in. And so with that mindset, that kind of gives me permission to relax a little bit, to relax my mind a little bit, and not worry about what the market's actually doing, not worry about, do I have to get in today? Is tomorrow going to be too late? It's just a very simple philosophy for me. I know that the market, the crypto market as a whole, is going up over the next few years. And so my strategy is buy as much as I can. That's it. So for me, my mission behind all of this is very simple. It's to take full advantage of the collapse of the old monetary system, which is absolutely happening right now. We're watching it every day. The old system of money, specifically the US dollar, and the way that thing is run, and like, it's dying, it's going away. And my objective is to position myself to take full advantage of that, because guess what? Wealth is never destroyed. It never disappears. It's just transferred. It goes from one vehicle to the next. And so where is that next vehicle going to be? Well, I'll tell you, gold, silver, crypto. Those are the three main things where the next vehicle of wealth is going to be. And so my objective is to position myself to take full advantage of this collapse that's taking place. So how do I actually do that? Well, that will give you some insight into my process. Number one is I invest as much US dollar as I possibly can into those three things: gold, silver, and crypto. That's the first thing. The second thing that I do is I stay up to date in the world, not because I like to know what's going on in the world and I'm, addicted to doom porn or anything like that. I don't like that stuff. I don't like bringing the negative stuff. I think a lot of the shit is sick. However, I stay up to date because it gives me better optics. It gives me visuals that I cannot see unless I know this stuff. And I can see the things that are happening, the coordinated efforts, and that allows me to just see things far in advance than other people don't see. Most people won't get involved in crypto until they're hearing it everywhere, and crypto is on a massive run. And then it's not too late then, but it's too late to make really, really, really big money. We're in now. Like we're the way that you see where things are going are by paying attention to what's going on in the world. So that's the second part of my strategy. The third part of my strategy is I'm building what I call ARMS, ARMS, automated recurring money systems. All right, these are online businesses. This is, if you got a small business or whatever the business is, build it so that it produces as much possible cash flow as you can. So that's part of my strategy, to build these money systems, whether it's a business, online or offline, to maximize my cash flow. Because the more cash flow I have, the more money I can put into these gold, silver, and cryptos. All right. So that's the next thing. Paying down debts slowly. That's actually part of my strategy. If you have any type of debt, good debt or bad debt, I don't necessarily recommend paying it all off this month, even if you can. That's not what I'm doing. I've got debt that I've had from other things, and guess what? I'm not paying, like, I'm paying it off slowly. I follow a very specific approach to paying it off. But the reason that I'm not taking all of this, I could take a lump sum money today and pay off the vast majority of my debt, maybe all of it. But I'm not doing that because that money can be so much more leveraged put somewhere else. That combined with, I know that the financial system is collapsing. Something's got to give. There's going to be some sort of debt jubilee that happens in the future, which a debt forgiveness type of a play. I don't know if this is going to be at the corporate level, just the banking level, or if some of that stuff is going to trickle down to consumer. I don't really see it trickling down. However, I don't want to pay off all of my debts today, spend thousands and thousands of dollars paying off all the debts today, and then tomorrow hear an announcement that, oh, everybody's debt's getting, if you have this qualifying debt, it's getting reduced by half or eliminated if you meet this criteria. Like, that's a potential possibility. And then that's just going to make me mad because I just paid all this money that I didn't actually have to pay. So that's my strategy and my reasoning behind paying down debt slow. So if you got debt, it's no big deal. Try to get out of it, but don't put everything in it. So that's the next play. The next part of my plan and strategy is to keep businesses running lean. If you do have a business, there's money, like it can probably run leaner always. And so that's a focus of mine. You know, these arms that I'm building, these different automated recurring money systems that I'm building, how can I make them be more efficient? How can I produce more money? How can I reduce expenses and increase profits? And so, and then along with everything else, it's just maximizing my health, my well-being, my fun. That's kind of at the core of everything I do. And so I tell you that, you know, that's my objective, to take advantage. And now I've told you how I do it. And so my day, knowing that context, my day kind of looks like this. In terms of crypto, you know, where do I spend my time? Because I mean, for some people, it may seem like I just spend all day, every day researching this stuff, and I don't. Honestly, I got other stuff that I'm doing. I have other projects that I'm working on. I have other businesses that I'm building. And so I spend about 1 hour a day consuming new information from my sources, just to catch me up on what's going on and to keep me in the know, so that I can just kind of piece my opinion together. And so that usually consumes about an hour of my day. Usually that's not me watching or reading something specifically. It's a lot of my sources are in video and audio format. And so I'll just, you know, I drive most mornings to go pick up, you know, to take my daughter to school, pick her up. So on the drives home, things whenever I'm not actually there, then that's what I do. I listen to, you know, and that's kind of when I get my information. There's also 30 minutes of my day that's dedicated to doing this show, where I'm talking about crypto, and I'm just kind of honestly, this show is where a lot of my opinion goes from my head to real life, right? It all kind of comes out here. And so this isn't really scripted. I'll you know, write down a couple of bullet points or whatever as I'm listening to my sources. I'll jot a couple of things down and say, hey, these are things that I want to just talk further about. Because what I found is, as I talk further about it, I internalize it better. And so I tell you that, I mean, I'm doing this show a lot for you guys, but at the same time, I'm doing it for me. My objective is I'm going to take a full advantage of this wealth transfer. And so to do that, I know that I've got to be in the know. I've got to understand what's going on. And this show helps me in my understanding. And so it's kind of like for me as well as it is for you guys too. And so that's what we got so far, an hour a day max listening to my sources, and just kind of gathering my updated info, and then 30 minutes to do this show. And then I spend time every week learning more about the projects that I'm already involved in. So any coins, I only have, I have a few coins that are my favorite coins, the ones that I like, the ones that I've studied the most. Those are the ones that I believe in, and I continue to invest in them to increase my holdings. There are coins that I believe they're going to, like, they still have hundreds and thousands of times of growth, like, in the pipeline. It might be a year, it might be 2 years to get there, but I believe that. And if I believe that, why would I not stack up as much as I possibly can? So in most of my holdings, they're all coins that I like, but in most of them, I'm not holding as much as I would like to hold. And so rather than me spending a lot of time researching new projects and trying to learn about all the newest stuff, I've got a handful of the ones that I do already know and understand. I'm just learning more about them, because the more I learn about them, the more confident I am in my investment. Also, the more I can help them. The more I can talk about them and help them in different ways. And so when it's time to actually make moves, and like, let's say that during my day, I come across some information that inspires me to sell one of my coins and purchase something else, or to actually buy into a new coin. I usually do that in the evenings, make my actual moves in the evenings. But that's kind of what my day looks like. In terms of like screen time, I'm not watching trading charts. I'm not, I'm not obsessed in watching the news all day, every day. It's a fine balance of, okay, what's my objective to take full advantage of this? And to do that, what do I need to do? Well, I got to know what the fuck's going on, and I got to make moves, and I got to understand it, and then I got to make moves based on that. That's the formula. And so I spend some time every day learning what's going on. I talk about it then. That helps me further understand it. And then I make the moves. If I'm talking about, if I'm reading about Litecoin, for example, and I come to the conclusion that I need to buy some more Litecoin. I don't have enough. Then I talk about it to you guys, and then at night I go and I actually buy it. And so so that's kind of my day. That's hopefully that answers your question, Daniel. So let's see, am I still sharing screen? I don't think so. Yeah, so that's the answer. That's all for this show. I think we've ran a little bit longer than normal, but I had some stuff that I wanted to talk about. So thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you're watching this in the group, in the Facebook group, drop me a comment, drop me a like, let me know if you got value from this. If you're watching this from the other place, where's the other place? YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to come join us in the group, click the link in the description, and you can come and check us out. So that's all I got. You guys have an amazing day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.